Chapter 1. Go in Peace. When the servant opened the door to receive me, I hastily explained my tardiness. I have come in response to the dinner invitation my brother and I received from your master. My brother has already arrived, but I fear I am running a little late. Is dinner still being served? Yes, ma'am, it is, he replied with a quizzical look. The men are gathered around the guest of honor. But, ma'am, there aren't any women among them. Are you certain you were included in the invitation? I smiled and answered with confidence. I am certain that any invitation addressed to my brother was also intended for me. I can hear the men talking, so I will make my way to join them. Besides, I have brought a gift for the guest of honor. The servant wasn't quite sure what to do as I brushed past him. Though I had not previously visited the Pharisee's home, I was certain I could find my way by following the sound of talking and laughter. I found the men reclining around a table as they intently listened to the guest of honor speak. But as I made my way to the one I had come to see, each man turned to look at me in surprise. Even my brother seemed somewhat perplexed about why I was there. Once they saw the alabaster jar in my arms, however, they must have assumed I was delivering a present for the guest of honor, because no one tried to prevent me from approaching him. Without stopping to acknowledge anyone, including the host, I walked over to where Jesus was reclining. As I knelt behind him and opened the jar of perfume, I heard a few gasps of recognition. Several men began to whisper to one another. If this man truly was a prophet of God, he would know what kind of woman this is. She is a sinner. I could not disagree with what they were saying. I knew I was a sinner, but I also knew I was a sinner whom Jesus had set free. As that reality washed over me again, I began to weep. My tears fell on his feet, and I wiped them off with my hair. I began to kiss his feet and anoint them with the perfume. I had come to express my love and gratitude for all he had done for me. I was no longer paying attention to anyone else in the room. Suddenly, I heard Jesus speak to his host. Simon, I have something to say to you. A man loaned money to two people, 500 pieces of silver to one and 50 pieces to the other. But neither of them could repay him, so he kindly forgave them both, cancelling their debts. Who do you suppose loved him more after that? Simon replied thoughtfully, I suppose the one for whom he cancelled the larger debt. Jesus said, You have answered rightly. Then he turned toward me for the first time and said to Simon, Look at this woman kneeling here. When I entered your home, you didn't offer me water to wash the dust off my feet, but she has washed them with her tears and wiped them with her hair. You didn't greet me with a kiss, but she has not stopped kissing my feet. You neglected the courtesy of olive oil to anoint my head, but she has anointed my feet with rare perfume. I tell you that her sins, and they are many, have been forgiven. So she has shown me much love, but a person who is forgiven little shows only little love. Most of these men knew me. I had done business with many of them when I was a respected member of the community, and I had even done business with a few of them after that was no longer the case. But even these men had no idea just how far I had fallen. None of them, including my brother, knew the full extent of my pain and despair. But Jesus did. He had seen me for who I was, and yet he had not rejected me, and neither had he abandoned me. He had walked through a crowd of people to come directly to me. That's what gave me the courage to walk through this crowd of men and go directly to him. He had been the first person in a long time to look at me with compassion instead of contempt. Part of me had wanted to flee from him that day. I knew from that first moment that he was a righteous man. I knew I was unworthy of his compassion. But he had looked me in the eyes instead of diverting his gaze, and that was something no one had done in a very long time. When he spoke to me that day, he was not harsh. Rather, he spoke with an authority I had never before experienced. He saved me from the miry pit in which I had imprisoned myself.